Okay, so my topic is about the hookup culture and how dating has gone vintage along the lines with Lily's. So a Friday night is a reminder for a middle schooler to walk to town with their friends and hang around Starbucks until they get kicked off the street corner. A Friday night is a reminder for a high school girl to go home 2 hours before a party in order to put on her favorite outfit and fix her hair and makeup, hoping to catch that one boy's attention she's been fixated on. A Friday night is a reminder for a high school boy to drink in order to seem cool with his companions and prove that he can hang out with them. A Friday night is a reminder for a college student to go to bed. They had been doing what every high schooler would wish they were all day. A Friday night is a reminder for parents and adults to go out to dinner with their fellow PTO school volunteers, but make sure they get home before their high schooler or middle schooler do. But how did that high schooler's night end? Did she end up getting what she wanted, attention from that one boy, a conversation with him? I've seen this scenario with my own eyes, and trust me when I say this, it never ended well. I have seen the laughs and smiles at night turn into tears and embarrassment the next morning. I have seen hopeless girls waiting for a signal from the boy to show her that he was into her without that hookup. The girl hooked up with the boy of her dreams. She won in a sense, but did she? In the moment she smiles, the next morning, sweating with anxiety, she realizes when he is ignoring her all of her text messages that he didn't feel the same way about her in those 30 monumental minutes. She has now prepared herself for this cycle of being throughout the rest of her high school nightlife. So I have a really good friend, and let's call her Sue, and she's beautiful and fun, but every single time we go out on like a Friday night, she ends up drinking. And she always gives in to this one guy, and this one guy doesn't deserve her attention or anything because he doesn't treat her very well. And as a person, he's not very genuine of a person himself, but she always gives in to him. And I believe that she does this because she knows that he's not going to take her on a date. She knows that she's not going to pay attention to her the next morning. So the only way to get his attention is she's going to hook up with him. And I interviewed her, and she explained to me that she feels she doesn't have a personality and that she's only good for one thing, because how is she supposed to talk to him when she's sober when he won't talk to her? She continues to explain that she has a very low self-esteem because of this, and sometimes whenever she goes to hook up with him, there's obviously you're not very comfortable with him if you can't talk to him in person or like when you're sober. So she says that if she feels like if she wanted to walk out, she would feel rude and high maintenance, but if she stayed, then she's considered immoral by all her fellow peers. So I'd like to point out there's 3 negative things that the hookup culture is doing to our era today and our peers. So it's harmful mentally and emotionally and physically. It leads women into being forced to want something that they aren't literally hardwired to want. And then it also leads to a failure of relationships. So Donna Freitas, who taught gender and religion at Boston University and is a recent author of a novel about the negative after effects of hooking up, points out that many college students don't even know how to approach a person face to face if they like them. And obviously we're all going to be college students in less than 5 months. The problem is that young people don't know how to get out of the hookup culture. Men don't want to give up having options to commit to only one woman, but the women are forced with going with the flow of the relationships and not expressing what they want. We should also be willing to risk feeling the embarrassment and awkwardness you're dealt with when you lay your feelings all down on the line and being rejected. And today our world that we're especially the USA, in all honesty, we're all very competitive and we all want to get ahead of each other. And so we don't want to be the ones that are left behind, so we mutually leave each other. And then, due to the failure of relationships, women are forced with the issue to go along with the flow because it is out of their control. And and so I hate the whole stereotype women need men and instead of men need women. But and so Seth Meyers, and he's a psychological doctor. He explains that he's done extensive research in order to determine how differently men and women see love for each other and their need for it. And he also explains how he's a feminist and therefore he hates the stereotype of women only want love. But his studies show that heterosexual women, ranging in the age from 20 to 68, and representing a range of backgrounds, so that they believe love was necessary for maximum satisfaction in both sexual relationships and marriage. So this goes on to explain that girls need more than just a hookup in order to feel fulfilled for life. Because if you're going to get married to somebody, and you want it to last, you can't just like have that guy Lily explain like cheating on you or like lingering around. And even girls, obviously they can linger and cheat too, but it's more so like the men in this case because there's a surplus of women due to like Tinder. And then Katie Van Sickle, she was a graduate from Dartmouth, and she explains that 28% of Dartmouth women have been reported being sexually assaulted during college. And you have to think about how easy this could be. Like, if you're out drinking at a frat or sorority party, and then you're obviously, I talked about Sue, like, and you're into this one guy, and the only way to catch their attention is to go hook up with them. Like, that's just how it is. That's how it is these days. But, and it says when you participate in this culture, you're running a risk of sabotaging yourself and not knowing how far your partner will go. A Dartmouth senior, Molly, shared her past experience with hooking up, which ended with the sentence, "Eventually I realized he was going to have sex with me whether I wanted it or not." And also there is a research, there was a study taken, and it says that 27.1% felt embarrassed, 24.7% reported emotional difficulties, and 20.8% experienced loss of respect, and 10% reported difficulties with a steady partner. So obviously that this hookup culture isn't only leading to like physical like danger such as sexual assault and not really knowing who you're hooking up with and just kind of basing by the way they look, but it's also, it makes you feel really bad about yourself the next morning or like even the night after. So I also, one personal experience I've had with this is I hooked up with somebody last year and I really liked them, and they like really liked me too, but then they started hooking up with other people, and last year I was devastated because I liked them so much and like I thought it was something more than what it was. And like, I was like, my mom was really worried about me. I always walked in the hallway with headphones in. I never really went out. I never really talked to anybody because I had such low self-confidence. But this year, like, I've tried to stay away from it if I don't know who I'm really talking to, or like if I don't really know like what they're about. I try to get to know them more, and I think that this has helped me because I'm more of a personal person and I like to meet people more, and like, I don't know if I've seen Lily out at parties, like I really like to talk to people because I like to know who you are and like what you believe in and like what you support, what you don't support, and I just think that, and I'm not saying don't hook up with anybody, like you guys can do what you want, I'm not saying, and hell, people are going to hook up with people, like if you're dating someone, you're going to hook up with someone, but I'm just saying like, just be cautious and like, make sure that you're comfortable with being able to say like, I don't want to do this or I don't like this, just make sure you know who you're with and like, make sure that you know where you are when you're doing it.